The family never existed. She paid $340,000 to save them anyway. Linda Morrison was 54 years old when she met Michael on a dating app. He was a widower, oil engineer, working on a platform in the North Sea. He had a young son named Tyler who lived with Michael's sister. She saw Tyler on video calls, watched him over 8 months, helped him with homework through the screen, sent birthday presents to Michael's sister who was watching him. Then Tyler was kidnapped. The ransom was $50,000. Then another 50. Then another. Linda mortgaged her house, emptied her retirement, borrowed from her brother $340,000 to save someone she loved. Tyler never existed, neither did Michael. Neither did the kidnapping. For 3 years, a criminal network operating from Southeast Asia created fully artificial people using AI, generated faces that never existed, deepfake video calls in real time. People who lived, laughed, and begged for help, but were nothing more than software. 2,400 victims and $127 million stolen. And when the FBI finally traced the operation, they found something worse than fraud. They found a factory. This is the story of Operation Phantom Heart and the woman who lost everything to a family made of code. Romance scams are as old as the internet. The traditional version is simple, like create a fake profile, build a relationship over weeks or months, invent an emergency, request money. It works because loneliness is powerful, not because people want to believe, because hope overrides suspicion. But the traditional romance scams have a limit. Eventually, the victim wants to meet, wants video calls, wants proof that the person they love actually exists. That's where most scams fall apart until AI changed everything. Generative adversarial networks can create human faces that don't exist. Feed the algorithm millions of real photos and it learns to generate new ones. Perfect faces, unique faces, faces that will never match any database because they were never real. Deepfake technology can animate those faces, make them speak, make them smile, make them cry. Real-time face swapping can put those artificial faces onto live video calls. A human operator in the Philippines can appear as a handsome American engineer. Their expressions mapped onto the generated face. Their movements translated into someone who never existed. By 2021, all of this was possible with consumer hardware. By 2022, criminals had industrialized it. The operation that FBI eventually designated Phantom Heart began in Cambodia. The organizers were Chinese nationals who had established a compound in Sihanoukville, a coastal city that had become a hub for online scam operations. Local authorities were paid to look away. Inside the compound, 200 workers, most were trafficked. They'd been recruited through fake job advertisements, promised legitimate work in tech support or customer service. When they arrived, their passports were confiscated. They were told they'd work until they paid off their debt. The debt was fictional. The work was fraud. Each worker was assigned a character, a fake identity built by the AI team. They received training materials, backstory, personality traits, sample conversations, photos and videos of their appearance. Then they went hunting. The targeting was sophisticated. The operation focused on Americans between 45 and 70, divorced or widowed, active on dating apps but unsuccessful, financially stable but not wealthy enough to have sophisticated fraud detection. They used data purchased from dark web marketplaces, breached dating site databases, social media scraping, credit bureau leaks. They knew their targets before the targets knew them. The approach followed a script refined through thousands of iterations. First contact was always casual. A like on a photo, a friendly message, nothing aggressive. The fake profiles were crafted to appeal to specific targets. A retired nurse would match with a doctor. A woman who loved dogs would match with someone whose photos featured golden retrievers. AI-generated photos filled the profiles, realistic but untraceable. No reverse image search would find them because they'd never existed anywhere else. The conversation began. Workers were trained in relationship building. They asked questions, remembered details, created emotional connection. After approximately 2 weeks, the relationship moved to video calls. This was the innovation that separated Phantom Heart from traditional scams. The worker would initiate a video call using custom software. Their real face was captured by camera. AI processed it in real time. The output was the generated face of their character, speaking the same words, making the same expressions, perfectly synchronized. The targets saw their match come to life. The face they'd fallen for, moving and speaking and smiling at them. The technology wasn't perfect. Lighting issues could create glitches. Sudden movements caused artifacts. The workers learned to control their environments. Consistent lighting, minimal head movement, short calls. If targets noticed anything odd, they blamed internet connection. After video confirmation, the relationship deepened. Calls became regular. Intimacy developed. Futures were discussed, marriage mentioned, and then the character introduced their family. This was Phantom Heart's signature innovation. A romance scam typically involves two people, victim and fake lover. Phantom Heart added more: family members. Family created emotional investment that far exceeded romantic attachment. The family members were also AI-generated, faces created to look related to the fake romantic partner. The same deepfake technology animated these faces. Workers would voice different characters while software transformed their appearance. The targets met their partners' relatives, watched them interact, celebrated their milestones, heard about their daily lives. Linda Morrison was one of these targets. She was 54, divorced for 6 years, working as an office manager at an accounting firm. She'd tried dating apps without success. Too many disappointments, too many liars. Michael seemed different. He was 51, widower. Wife had died of cancer 3 years prior. He worked as an engineer on North Sea oil platforms, explaining why he could never meet in person. He had a son, Tyler, who lived with Michael's sister during his offshore rotations. Linda first saw Tyler on a video call 6 weeks into her relationship with Michael. A young boy with Michael's eyes. Shy at first, then warming up, telling her about his school, his friends, his favorite video games. Over 8 months, Linda watched Tyler. She helped with homework, listened to him read aloud, celebrated when he scored a goal in soccer, comforted him when a classmate was mean. She sent gifts through Michael's sister. The address was actually a reshipping service that forwarded packages to the compound, where they were opened on camera to show Tyler's reaction. She loved that family. Then the kidnapping happened. In month 9, Michael called in panic. Tyler hadn't come home from school, like the sister had reported him missing. Then came the ransom call. Someone had taken Tyler. They wanted $50,000 in Bitcoin or else. Michael was trapped on the oil platform, unable to leave, unable to help. Linda had to save Tyler. The operation sent videos. Tyler, restrained and crying, begging for help. AI-generated footage, created by the same technology that had built his face. Utterly convincing. Linda wired $50,000. It wasn't enough. The kidnappers demanded more, another $50,000. Linda remortgaged her house. Then complications arose. The kidnappers moved Tyler. They needed additional payment for logistics. Medical issues? They needed money for a doctor. Each demand was accompanied by video of Tyler. Each video showed him more distressed. Each video drove Linda to find more money. $340,000 over 2 months a night. Then Michael stopped responding. The kidnappers stopped sending videos. Tyler vanished. Linda called police. She filed reports. She hired a private investigator. The investigator found nothing. No Michael, no Tyler, no kidnapping. The oil company Michael worked for didn't exist. The phone numbers were VoIP lines, already disconnected. The money was gone. Linda had lost everything for a family who never existed. She wasn't alone. FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center began seeing unusual reports in late 2022. Romance scams were common, but these had a pattern that stood out. Multiple victims mentioned family members, not just romantic partners, but developed relationships with their fake partners' relatives, and the losses were catastrophic. Traditional romance scams averaged $35,000 per victim. These averaged $71,000. The family connections created emotional leverage that multiplied financial damage. An analyst in FBI's cyber division connected the reports. Similar patterns, similar technologies described, similar geographic indicators. By early 2023, they suspected a single coordinated operation. They designated it Phantom Heart. Investigating international cyber fraud is complicated. The perpetrators were in Cambodia. Victims were in America. Money flowed through cryptocurrency exchanges in multiple jurisdictions. The technology involved cutting-edge AI. FBI partnered with Interpol, Australian Federal Police, and eventually Cambodian authorities. The investigation took 18 months. They started with the money. Cryptocurrency transactions are recorded on public blockchains. With enough analysis, patterns emerged. wallets that receive from multiple victim transactions, exchanges where funds are converted, destination wallets where money accumulates. The accumulation wallets pointed to specific exchanges in Southeast Asia. Exchange records obtained through international legal cooperation showed withdrawal patterns. Cash pickups in Sihanoukville. Intelligence assets in Cambodia provided the final piece. The compound was located in March 2024, a walled facility in a suburb of Sihanoukville. Satellite imagery showed dormitory buildings, an operations center, armed guards. Cambodian authorities were reluctant to move. The compound operators had local protection, bribes had been paid, officials had been compromised, but the evidence was overwhelming, and international pressure was mounting. On June 14, 2024, Cambodian police raided the compound with FBI assistance. What they found was both crime scene and human tragedy. 200 workers, most trafficked from Vietnam, Myanmar, and Indonesia, locked facilities, confiscated documents, debt bondage records. These weren't criminal masterminds, they were victims themselves, forced to victimize others. The technology operation was sophisticated, servers containing AI face generation software, deepfake video processing equipment, databases with profiles of over 2,000 active victims, target files that included personal histories, psychological assessments, financial estimates, scripts for every scenario, first contact, relationship building, family introduction, emergency creation, ransom escalation, and the identity library. Database of AI-generated faces, hundreds of them, different ages, genders, ethnicities, each with associated video models allowing real-time deepfake, ready-made people for whatever scenario a target would find most compelling. The compound operators, Chinese nationals who ran the facility, had fled before the raid. They'd had warning. Someone had talked. 12 of them were eventually arrested in other countries over the following months. Some in Thailand, some in Malaysia, 2 in Canada attempting to enter the United States. The workers received different treatment. Most were recognized as trafficking victims. They were processed, documented, and eventually repatriated. Several cooperated with investigators, providing detailed testimony about operations. The criminal case grew from their accounts. 156 individuals eventually faced charges: compound operators, technical staff who'd built the AI systems, financial handlers who'd processed cryptocurrency, recruiters who'd lured workers with fake job offers, and the mules. In America, 47 people had helped move money for the operation, some knowingly, some willfully ignorant. All faced federal charges. Linda Morrison testified at multiple trials. She described her relationship with Michael, her love for Tyler, the kidnapping, the payments, the devastation when she realized none of it was real. She was 56 by then, bankrupt, living with her brother, her retirement savings gone. She still had photos of Tyler on her phone. She knew he wasn't real, but she couldn't delete them. 8 months of her life, a family she'd watched grow, birthday celebrations, homework help, goodnight calls. Her brain knew Tyler was software. Her heart hadn't accepted it. Prosecutors used her testimony and stories from dozens of other victims to demonstrate the operation's devastating human impact. The primary defendants received severe sentences. The compound's technical director, the man who'd built the AI systems, received 23 years. Financial controllers received 15 to 20 years. Operators who directly conducted fraud received 12 to 18 years, depending on their victim counts. The trafficked workers who'd been forced to participate were not charged. They were victims too. The investigation identified 2,400 victims across the United States, Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Total documented losses: $127 million. Average loss per victim, approximately $53,000. But the financial losses were only part of the damage. The psychological trauma was immeasurable. Victims had built real emotional bonds with artificial people. They grieved for relationships that never existed. The families never existed, but the grief was real. The technology that enabled Phantom Heart continues to evolve. AI-generated faces are now indistinguishable from photographs of real people. Real-time deepfakes work on standard smartphones. Voice cloning can be added to video, creating complete synthetic humans. The Phantom Heart operation was sophisticated for 2022. Today, it could be replicated by a small team with consumer equipment. The FBI advisory following the investigation recommended verification procedures, reverse image search profile photos, Request specific real-time actions during video calls. Be suspicious of partners who can never meet in person. Good advice. Hard to follow when you're watching someone you love cry and beg for help. If you've ever connected with someone online who seemed perfect, consider what you actually verified. Did you see their face, or did you see pixels that looked like a face? Did you meet their family? Or did you meet generated images trained to evoke your trust? Did they love you? Or did an algorithm identify exactly what you needed to hear? The family never existed. The love felt real anyway. And somewhere right now, someone is on a video call with people who exist only in software. They're already thinking about how much they'd pay to help them.